Welcome back to Hypothetically Sound. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you guys are doing well out there. Today is the
Yeah.
start of our October Scary Fest, Halloween Fest, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be looking at scary movies, ghosts, haunted things, October themed things throughout the month. We're going to try to put out as many podcasts for you guys as possible. Today, guys, I think it's only right that we start, in my personal opinion, with the best topic, and that's Ghost. Uh, I know all of us have our history with Ghost, but I think people out in the world want to know, do you guys think ghosts are real?
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
Why?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that one. No, I think like ghosts can be described as like both like an imprint of like someone's being and like what you kind of see in like the movies or cartoons or whatever, right? I feel like there's two like spectrums of it.
Mhm.
Um I believe in the ones that interact with things, and I definitely believe that there's some sort of like imprint that you can leave on the world that essentially repeats, and I would consider that as a ghost as well, like seeing a shadow walk through a hallway and that's the only time you see it or something.
Yeah,
So
that's yeah, in a nutshell, it's kinda like what it is for me too. Like, I definitely don't know if you would consider it the textbook definition of ghosts, but I do believe in the same residual energy left behind creates something that happens, a sound, but there are some things that are unexplainable. Like, those are like, there are some things that I would consider truly unexplainable. Um, but yeah, I do and I don't, I guess, is the best way to say that then.
Yeah, I believe. I
you're
definitely
agnostic of ghosts.
agnostic of ghosts.
Yeah,
I like that.
exactly.
I definitely believe in ghost. I don't know if I believe it's like the afterlife effects of people. I
Mhm.
prescribe more to the theory, going back to one of our theory series episodes of time, or uh, the kind of the Lazarus effect is people from different timelines essentially bleeding through
Mhm.
into ours and affecting our reality. And that's why like you find them in the same spot is because once they bleed over, they're stuck there. Like that imprint is just stuck there and it just repeats itself. And then when it comes to things moving, I prescribe to demonic entities are the things that move. So things that are given powers from otherworldly things, so demonic or even time and space. They're just given the power to move things and interact in a way that affects our living space. So that's where I stand on ghosts. I believe in them. I've experienced things with them, and so I just don't believe that they're like our grandma or grandpa, cousins, things like that, or
Right.
woman who was murdered back in 1942.
Yeah. You don't believe it's like a specific person?
No,
Yeah.
no. I personally prescribe to when you die, you get made into a tree. So if you put it in the ground, otherwise you're just dust in the bowl.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I think it'll be fun for this first episode uh, to tell if you have one, an experience with some kind of paranormal activity, ghost, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
You want to go first,
Yeah,
Adam?
I'll start. Or you want to go first?
Okay,
Don't
I'm down
dab. I don't know what that fuck that
now.
means. You can't dab on
No,
me.
no, I'm not going first. I
Okay,
said
I'll
not
go
first.
first. I'm just gonna tell a simple story that happened when I was in middle school. Um, it also kind of like tells how I perceive these things and how I handle it when it happens. Because we do have a lot of unexplained stuff that tends to happen ever since I was little. Um, but I lived in this really creepy house, two floors. But you could see the living room from the kitchen. Like it was a hallway, like the kitchen, hallway, living room, right? And the stairway was like in the hall. It was weird. It's really weird layout, really weird house. Um, Occasionally I would see shadows and stuff coming from the hallway to go upstairs or go into the side room that's also attached to said hallway. But one time I got home, my mom didn't come home until like 9-10 o'clock every night. So I was home from 4 to 10 by myself. And every day or every other day or once a week, I'm not sure. I'm really bad with dishes and chores. I did dishes and I would stack them up, and I stacked them always the same way. I always put like pots way on the big counter, so nothing happened to them, and then plates and all that stuff. But this counter that I put them on was huge, huge. So I get home, I do the dishes quick. It's about 7 o'clock at night. I'm watching TV in the living room when one of the big pots that I always clean first because it's the biggest and I put farthest back somehow fell on the floor on the opposite side of the counter. And like I watched it to the point where like it was over the dishes and it fell to the floor. I didn't see the initial movement, and I just like stared at it for a second. I continued to watch TV because I mind my own goddamn business. All right. And a couple hours later, my mom comes home. She's like, "Oh, you did the dishes. Thank you, Alek. Why the fuck is a pot on the floor?" And I go, "Don't know." I was like, you know where I put the pot? There's no way it should be on the floor, right? She's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Beats me. You didn't come pick it up? Nope. Man, yeah.
I mean,
bitch, dude, everything bad, like every paranormal thing that happens, knocks, something falls over that shouldn't fall over, anything like that, nope, not my problem.
it's because how Rand said it's demonic.
I mean, probably, yeah. Like, I feel like the best thing to do is not give it attention.
Not give it extra energy. Like,
Yeah.
it exerted all its energy there, and by you reacting, going to it, it's going to drain whatever energy it needs from you.
Your life force.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But that's the thing, right? Like,
Give me your life.
if paranormal stuff is like energy, or like electromagnetism or some bullshit that every living creature has, wouldn't it make sense that giving the attention to this thing, kind of like how some people take energy from others, wouldn't it make sense to be the same? Me?
Yeah.
Dude, nah, people take my energy all the time.
Yeah, I think you just give more energy
Dog.
than you should is the problem.
Here's a little bit about me. I go somewhere, I chill for about 20 minutes, and I hate my life and want to leave. I come home and take a nap for 14 hours, all right? So
And
like
then you just vomit in the mouth.
yeah, 100%.
You're like the dude from Green Mile that takes everybody's sickness and everything and pain and swallows it, and then has to like throws up gnats, and then I'm tired, boss. I'm gonna lay down now. Have you guys seen Green Mile?
No, I've never seen the Green Mile. That sounds fucking awful. I would do that for no one.
Yeah, his whole
I would do that
is
for no one.
he has superpower.
Yeah,
It takes
we're not
people's
saying
pain.
that you would do that. We're just saying that you puke up
Gnats.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
No, what's crazy about that
that's
house?
probably paranormal too. Let's be honest. It's called possession, motherfucker.
Yeah, you sure are possessed. You got a demon. You need Jesus.
Yeah, you possessed, but it got so much room in your fucking forehead. It don't take over your body.
It just lives there,
Rent free, dude. It's like a fucking 4-bedroom, 8-bath condo.
And
Doesn't
the
even
nose.
need the
Don't
8
forget the
bathrooms.
nose. It's got the nose too.
Where do you baths go?
It just
The 4
hangs out.
bedrooms in that forehead. The 8 baths? Nose. Fucking asshole.
No, that house was. I remember that house. That was creepy. I stayed there for a summer, or like 3 weeks during the summer between college, and like constantly. And same thing happens here. Like, you ever get that feeling where you're sitting and like you out of the corner of your periphery you see physical and you feel the physical shadow or thing move past you, and you're just like, something moved. And here it's been happening here, and I'll be like, Mom? No, she's in the room. I can hear her in the room. But something definitely moved that drew my attention. Like, I'm not gonna just look at something and be like, nothing's there. Something has to draw your attention. Same thing happened in our house all the time. Something would walk from the kitchen into the stairs or into like our side room towards like the patio that was there. It was always creepy. Just a bad feeling in that house.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Fuck it. You brought it up. For a while, I had my desk facing the other way, and we've been on when we were like, "Hey, is mom home?" That's because a lot of times we will hear her door open and close, or like there's been times I'm like, "Oh, yo, mom, how you doing?" I was like, "Where did she go?" And then my mom's not here, right? And I'm like, "Yo, I straight up just saw this like little old white lady. Like, what the fuck?"
Like I've got up
And
sometimes to see if someone was in our house because like I physically saw someone. Like I'm like I see it, sense the shadow, I sense it, and I look and there was a person there, and I'm like, Mom, no, mom's not home. So I go to see if someone opened their doors.
the worst one was it was like 3 or 4 a.m. and I told Randy I thought I heard uh something outside our door, like someone walking outside our door playing with some shit that we had outside our door. And so I got up to look, and then I heard shit in the back room, and it sounded like a door closed. I'm like, oh, there's someone in our bathroom. Like, I'm gonna get in a fight. And so we walk through the house super quick, and I don't see anything. And we're in the living room, and our mom's door is open at this point.
We
She's
both
not
walked
home.
past it open.
Yeah, it was open because we checked it. We opened it up to check. She's not home. Toop was out, so like, and Toop likes to stay in the room. So like, we know the
That's
door
one
was
of their
open.
dogs.
Yeah, sorry. Toop is a dog. We also have K Dot, both named after a musical artist or song. Um, then we start walking after like discussing for a little bit what's going on. We're like, oh, let's get Toop back in the room, blah blah blah. And we walk, and I open up my mom's door, and Toop goes in, and I close it, and then Rand's like, "Did you just open the door again?" And I was like, "Yep," but we're just going to ignore it. And we went back in the room and went back to bed. Um, this house is creepy as fuck, as well. So
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
that's terrifying. I've never experienced anything like that. So like those types of things are the things that I have the most trouble um like connecting with or feeling a part of. Cuz I've never experienced anything that degree.
mhm.
When I talk about my story, you'll kind of see I've only had one experience that I can ever recall or anything like that that I would amount to something like that. So I think, you guys experiencing quite a bit of that is definitely just like,
Mhm.
it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, are can it be certain people at that point? Because if you've been experiencing it throughout your entire life, that would mean that you'd have something with you rather than something at the location that you're going to. Because it would be very far fetched and um hard. The chances would be very slim that you guys would move to different locations and have the same sort of things happening.
Mhm.
mm,
Whereas me, I've moved multiple locations and I've only had it ever happen at one. So I don't know if maybe it's just like the energy of the universe is bringing you to places where it's more
well,
like,
do you want me to tell them, or
No, you can go ahead.
okay? I've talked a lot. I'm
well,
sorry.
let
No,
me let me just
the thing is that like in one instance, Grandma Pauline, or grandma on our mom's side that me and you never got to meet, she
That
had
side.
this
That side.
that side. I'm sorry,
yeah, I
that
get it.
side. Uh, we she had this thing with like the knocks. I mentioned that earlier. Where like if you hear 3 knocks, it's like a omen, right? Like it's bad luck, something, someone's gonna die usually or something like that. And like um s- the knocks have been around all the time, and we go a super super long time without like hearing knocks. Uh Months, sometimes. I think I've the longest I've gone is like a year and a half
Yeah.
of not hearing any knocks. And eventually you do hear knocks, and obviously this one's a weird superstition because people die all the time, especially people close to you. But like sometimes the knocks and who dies after and how loud the knocks were is just a really weird coincidence. Like my mom's husband died, and knocks were heard like that week earlier. And it was fairly loud, like it sounded like someone was at our door and we could hear it from upstairs. And this was in that creepy house. And me and my mom both heard it, and Mark was away in Stevens Point at the time. And Mark died, that week. Or like when my grandpa died as well. we heard knocks like a month prior to that, and those were super loud. So we assume like the louder the knock, the closer it is, and that could just be like an intuition thing because sometimes you just kind of know, or I don't know. That one's weird. But another thing we have is it sounds really ridiculous. My dad has this thing that follows him. He describes it as like a clown. Like it looks
you
like
know,
a clown.
Twisted Metal, the clown
Sweet
in
Kid.
Twisted Metal. That's who
Yeah.
That's like, I don't think he's ever played a game, so he can't describe him.
Relate to that.
Yeah, but that's what he's described.
Right.
Hmm.
And I know he's never played the game because it's not his style. Like it's never be his style of anything.
Mhm.
But the thing is that we've had pictures, and like I didn't know about this thing before, right?
Mhm.
And we've taken pictures of things, and like Randy, I think, has seen it before. But one time we were on a world trip, and I took a picture of the clouds because I was a little weirdo when I was little, and I like take pictures of clouds all the time.
Yeah, where'd that though?
Yeah, this was back when I had a flip phone, so it's gone. I actually no, Dad still has it somewhere.
Oh, does he?
Because we
Yo.
sent it and printed it out.
Mm.
So
If
if we
you
can
can
find it,
Find that, that'd be fucking crazy.
yeah, we'll have to
Continue.
look. But we took a picture of the clouds, and then like I
Mhm.
showed my mom. I was like, "Hey, look at this pretty picture of the clouds." And my mom kind of was like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "What do you see in the clouds?" And I was like, "Ah, it kind of looks like a clown face." Uh, and without telling my dad or anything, we went and got the picture downloaded on a computer and printed it out and just gave it to him. And my dad freaked out too. I think you saw the picture, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're with us, but yeah. So, like, that's a weird coincidence too, right? And my dad said that when me and Randy were born, a lot of the stuff that he experienced died down. So there's a good chance that that went from him to us.
Yeah, there's a few things with it that's like I'll talk a lot more about this clown and like my dad's experience in a future episode because it's literally an episode on itself. It's a huge saga. But like going that thing has, we're pretty sure. I don't know if Kevin ever told you, but at Grandma's house there were two
Mhm.
spirits. We had Herbie, who we deemed as a friendly ghost to
Yeah.
take keys
Yeah,
and
friendly
stuff.
ghost. Yeah. Nope, that's gonna be where one of my other experiences
Okay.
comes from. That's one of the only ones that I remember.
And then we
Herbie?
had the
Ooh, shivers.
It was not Irby.
the
Oh.
demonic ghost in the closet or in the upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs
attic.
with the red eyes that
Yep.
literally fucking knocked me out of bed, and I woke up screaming one time.
Mm-hmm. That's where it started. So it's been there the whole time, and that's where Dad got it. And I remember one time with you guys, you were just born, and me and Kevin were babysitting, and we had you on the floor sleeping. And in the layout of Grandma's house, there was by the patio, there was like a bed, couch, and then a room straight in front of us that you could look into where the computer, Alan slept, and there was a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, also, pause. One
Yeah.
other thing, just so you know that I'll never forget. I also will never forget the clown mask that you guys used on us in the fucking
Yeah.
locked
Or
us in
when
the
you taped us to
goddamn.
the fucking door, or
Yeah.
the time that y'all got mad at us because you attacked us, we grabbed weights from the toy box, ran upstairs, and dropped them. And then you're like, "Oh, what the fuck y'all throwing?" And then you turn on the lights, and you're like, "The fuck's wrong with y'all?" I'm like, "The fuck wrong with us? We're fucking 4, all right? You scaring the shit out of us. We had to carry like 5 fucking weights in our little ass arms."
We were ready to go.
We devised that plan too. That's why the weights were in the toy box because we're like, take them, go upstairs, drop them. Like,
Drop them like bombs.
We weren't the greatest role models,
Assholes. Anyway.
then.
Yeah.
But no, we were sitting on the couch and we're watching TV and listening to music and watching you guys, and we're just sitting there. All of a sudden, like, we both, for some reason, me and Kevin both look up and look into the room as a picture of your dad and our dad comes like floating out of the room, flying out of the room, and crashes in between you guys and us. Like the frame breaks and everything. Like, so it flew a good 40 feet. So it wasn't just like, oh, it fell off the thing. No, it came at us from 40 feet away. And that was probably one of the biggest early ghost things. Like, there was Herbie, and there was like experiencing the demonic ghost in the in the attic and like, but just not paying attention to it. But that was the first time that I don't know if Herbie got fucking beat up or some shit, but like he came at us and like that was some creepy shit. And like I've noticed when it comes to this being or whatever we feel is following me and Alec, it only happens when we're together. I had one experience in college with anything paranormal, and it's more probably related to sleep paralysis. Even though I've only had a sleep paralysis episode once in my life, and when I did, I
Only once.
pictured the ghost holding me, like attacking me and holding me down. And that's the only time I've ever had it, but that was also the only paranormal thing. And when that happened, what's strange is my dad called within an hour of it happening to check on me for some reason. He just called. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm just calling to check on you. You okay? I'm like, yeah. Didn't tell him, but I was just like, yeah, I'm good. This is weird. Why are you calling? It's like 2 a.m.
Dad has actually like really, really good intuition. I remember mom telling me a story about a time I used to have night terrors all the time when we lived in Minneapolis. And when dad was out on trips, he would occasionally call right after I either started or settled down, asking if I was all right. And most of my night terrors involved like something demonic coming from our basement. And so like dad has like really good intuition on that, and it's weird. That's another weird thing.
And the last thing I want to talk, like at least for this episode, mention on when it comes to Alec and these ghosts. We've always said Alec, like our family on our mom's side believes in psychic abilities. That's partly where the knocking comes from too. Our great grandma was very like intuition based and like knew things she shouldn't know. And Alec from a very young age was haunted by things, constantly had night terrors. But one day, Alec woke up in the middle of the night after having a night terror, and he wasn't crying or anything. We're like, "You okay?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Grandpa got me, and we're like, "No, I don't think Grandpa Charlie or Grandpa Ron has you." He's like, "No, Grandpa who caught the fish," and then he went on to describe a man that he's never seen in his life. A picture
I'm
he
actually
had,
named after him.
yeah. So his middle name Kenneth. Our great grandpa Kenneth
Damn, just
had
give my government knowledge, man.
had a picture of him catching a prize fish that Alec had never seen. But he described this man to the T and was like, "It's okay, he's protected me now." And then for a good while, his night terrors went away in that house.
Mm.
And it was the craziest thing because like he had never seen him. I had only met the man once and never talked about him. Like to be
That's
able
wild.
to find, like to describe this man.
Describe, yeah.
I personally don't remember that. I only remember my night terrors from there, and they're just still pretty blurry, you know. But yeah,
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy. Like I said, I wanna come back to this again and talk more after people listen and see if they have stories and we can continue telling stories we have. I also want to
Yeah,
get into nightmares in the future.
yeah, I'm one of those people who only remembers it if it's a nightmare, but otherwise majority of the time don't have very many dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the only ones I seem to remember things that
sorry,
my brain would consider a nightmare. Um, but yeah, I have a quick story too
Yeah,
while
yeah.
we're here. Yeah, so my story, real short and sweet. There was this one time when I was in high school, and I had a group of friends, and we were like, "Yeah, it'd be really fun to fuck around and do like ghost hunting." You know, we always see the ghost hunting on the TV, and oh man, this has got to be, ghosts are real. No, they're not. Yeah, they are, man. You know, that whole sort of thing going on. So we spent a lot of time messing around in like cemeteries at night. No, we did not defile anyone's grave. No, we did not mess anything up, but just simply walking through cemeteries at night to see if we could get any sort of sound, any sort of whatever. We explored abandoned locations around us,
Mm-hmm.
houses that were either condemned or just like not, whatever. No, we never broke into property. No, any of that stuff. But yeah, so there was an evening where we thought it'd be funny if we were like, yeah, let's fuck around in the basement and talk out into the air and see if we can get something. Um, Now, mind you, kind of like back up a little bit. We also went bowling that evening. And then we had, while we were gone, left a tape recorder, like an old, not a digital, but like an actual like old tape recorder in my basement, to see if we could catch any sort of sounds, whether it be animal or ghost related or whatever. So while we were bowling, my brother thought it'd be funny if he ran down the stairs, made a bunch of noise, ran back up the stairs, and we got back and we listened to it. And we were like, oh my god. And then we were like, yeah, that's not real, it's not real. And then long story short, my brother started laughing, and was like, yeah, that was me, blah blah blah. So we're like, well, let's go back down there again. So it's around like 3 o'clock in the morning. Just normal high schoolers on the weekend, just got done playing Call of Duty, and we're like, yeah, let's fuck around and try to record some shit in the basement. So we went down there and we were talking, and it was legitimate for a period of time where, we were just sitting there talking, asking questions. And it was a good like 15 minutes of recording where nothing happened. But there was one point where everyone went silent for a good, I'd say probably 2 minutes after somebody said something, asking, is it okay that we're here? And when you go back and listen to the recording, which I'm going to see if I can find it again, you go back and listen to the recording after that question was asked, probably about 20 to 30 seconds after that, as we're just sitting there silent, you hear, we're good. And that was it. There's no, no one down there made that sound because, obviously one of us would have smacked and be like, yo, shut the fuck up, like whatever. But it was just absolute complete silence. And all you just hear is like and it doesn't sound, it's one of those things where it's a sound that it probably is not we're good. It's probably some other sound that the recording picked up and, my brain is perceiving it as someone saying we're good. But at the same time, there's like, if I can find out if he still has it, at the same time, it's almost like, is it a different sound that I'm perceiving as we're good, or did I actually just hear we're good? Like, it definitely, it had the we're kind of spaced out good. Again, being that it was a bit distorted, could be an argument that it was just some sort of weird noise that somehow it picked up that we couldn't hear with our human ears, which I don't know. That was pretty low sounding sound for our ears to not be able to pick it up. High end of the spectrum is probably harder to hear than the low end of the spectrum. So it certainly, couldn't have been a high frequency. It would have to have been low past our ears. But yeah, during that time while we were down there, it was just, I mean, dead silent. Like that silence where it's so silent that you hear your ears ringing because there's no sound.
Yeah.
And it was that dead silent, and you could hear it in that recording, and we lost our mind for probably a week and a half straight because, we'd go a couple of days, wouldn't say anything, be like, dude, I listened to the recording. Man, that's real. That's gotta be real. And that's really the only, big interaction that I've ever had with something along that spectrum. Minus the one time back at the old house. Herbie, I never experienced. I remember my mom talking about it a lot. Like, oh, it's probably Herbie or, whatever. Oh, whatever just fell. Oh, it's probably Herbie. Don't worry about it. But the one thing that I do remember and will, for some reason, cannot forget, and it even pops up in my dreams. And even right now, like, it's one of the few things in my life that I can, like, picture so clearly because it imprinted my like the situation or the trauma that it caused to me, the whatever the case is so burnt into my mind that I can even recall the bed, where the position was, where I fell, where the door was, where the dresser was, where everything was, and all I just remember is just pure red, just eyes. And not like human eyes. They're definitely shaped as you would think, like your stereotypical demon, kind of like sharp at the tip, you know, thicker towards the center. But it was just red, and like not just any kind of red, but like a soul grabbing kind of red, like you're looking at it's not just like a red marker that you're just like, "Ah," like that, but like it had depth, it had like emptiness. But yeah, that's the only thing that I can remember of those, that
Yeah.
that style of memory.
When we from the memories you have of grandma's house, do you remember any of the times that we were chilling and like TV was on or like music was playing? Many times, and it suddenly got like stupid loud. Like it would just go
Yeah.
blaring loud, yeah. And then someone would yell, "Herbie, turn it down," and it went. "Oh." that was Herbie. Like that was Herbie's main thing. Is that like if you didn't like say hi to Herbie coming in or like pay enough attention to like
Little
little
things like
things,
that.
it would turn up the volume and it would stay on. Like we tested it, and I'm sure Randy and them tested it too. It would stay on until you said, "Herbie, can you turn it back down?" And then it'll go,
Yeah.
"Woof."
I forgot about that.
Like
I don't,
it was the craziest thing because it was the one thing that happened that me and you wouldn't get blamed for.
right.
So
Yeah, when you know, to be honest with you, when we started this episode, I didn't know where it was gonna go, and when you brought that up, like it did a weird thing to me where it was just like all this shit was just kind of like I remember all these things now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't remember the countless times my mom talked about it. Like all that shit just like blew my mind for just a split moment that that was
but that's the thing, it was so normal, right? It was like
and
such
that's
a
what I
normal
mean.
thing.
That's what's weird to me is that there could be so many people that were in and out of that house, and every single one of them experienced it, and it was just nothing. But then I look at it now, and it's like I've looked for those things, and it was right in front of my face, and like I never once made that like,
Connection.
"Yo," yeah. I was like,
And I
"Huh?"
also think a lot of people who claim they never had a paranormal experience or something, or not many, probably also went through the same thing. Like it was just something that like minor that they just brushed off. Like maybe an
Yeah.
object moved, and they're like, "Oh, it was there the whole time," or "I did it myself," right?
Mm.
Because not everything can be a pot flying or a frame flying. Like sometimes it is as simple as like,
Passing by?
yeah, and like that's it. It's just something barely moving.
Mm.
And people listening at home are probably like, "Oh, you guys are making stuff up, or you guys are cursed or something." And truth be told, according to our great grandma Pauline, that is the case. Grandma Pauline, as people may not know, we're all Native American as well.
Mm.
Grandma Pauline I'm pretty sure she was 90 to 100% Native American. And my belief is the reason we don't know the tribe is because she was a part of the assimilation phase in the United States where children were taken to boarding schools and forced to forget their Native American roots. So I believe she was part of that. But she, when she was alive, wouldn't allow us to figure out what tribe we were from because she believed we were cursed. That the Stringer family was cursed.
Have you guys had a DNA test to
Yeah,
figure out
yeah,
what tribe?
yeah. We
It
didn't
doesn't.
get
It just
tribe,
says,
but we're Southern Native
yeah.
Americans. It's
So
like during the
like,
Mexico time.
yeah,
Hmm,
we're
interesting.
descendants from
Oh, no wonder why people say
Southern
I
slaves
look, you
and
know, never
Native
mind.
Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So
People say I look of a certain nationality all the time.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, and I think that plays into why I think demonic entities exist. Just because that was a thing in the Native American culture, and if like I'm not gonna say she was wrong. If she believed we were cursed and everything we've experienced in our life, I have no reason to doubt she has. And the reason I think I'm
Right.
safe is because I've had her ashes with me for over 20 years now. Like,
sure.
I've had her every day of my life since she passed away. And so, like, maybe she's protected me from afar, or her juju, or whatever you want to call it, is protecting so nothing worse happens than what already happens to us.
Sure.
Right.
This was a
That's
fun one.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could obviously go for much
Way too
longer.
long.
I have like 20 more stories, experiences that have happened. So
Oh, baby.
we'll come
My
back
mouth
and
is
do
watering.
another one. Like I said, we'll talk about nightmares. We'll look at
That'd be
horror
an interesting one.
movies, rate those, review and stuff like that. We have a lot of stuff planned for you guys. I have chills and shivers now. I'm afraid to open my door because the lady's
Yeah.
gonna be waiting for us because we talk
do have
shit. We're
chills.
gonna
I
get
do have
hit.
chills all the time. Yeah, that bitch just sitting outside waiting. Like, what one of y'all opening it first in a fucking sumo position? I can hear her slapping her fucking thighs right now, like getting ready.
So it takes us to our beloved segment of the podcast, the sellout shout out portion. As always, thank you guys for listening to us. We appreciate every single listen. You can find us on YouTube at Hypothetically Sound. You can find us on Podbean at Hypothetically Sound. On New World, we're playing a lot of New World right now, guys. It's a great game.
This almost didn't get filmed. I'll be honest.
It was a close one.
Me and Randy straight up messaged. I was like, "Yeah, let's just play."
Yeah, if you didn't get kicked out, we weren't recording this today.
Yeah,
I got kicked out of the server, guys. So we all know if you're playing, if you're listening and you're playing, you know what that's like.
You can find our merch on sirbude.com. Find us on Twitter.
Amazon.
Soon to be Amazon, yep. Xavier and Alek are wearing merch as always, being good, supportive people.
It's my design.
Except for I'm still waiting to get my sweatshirts. Or long
I am
sweatshirts.
broke. Give me a minute.
Oh, now they haven't been ordered.
I
remember someone said they were ordered.
I'm trying to suck dick. You know how hard it is when you have to give free samples before you get like customers? A lot of dick sucking. Oh, this is actually on. Oh, fuck. Oh no. Anyway, shout out to the people that want to see paranormal stuff and never do. Talking to you, Aaron. And maybe one day something spooky will happen. Ooh, ghost. Ooh, boo. Oh. See?
Real monsters. Oh, sorry. Old cartoon.
So fucking awkward, man.
Thank you guys. Until next time, have a great October. Yeah. Comment. Tell us some of your stories.
Please.
Tell us what story you want to hear more of us. Laugh, love, like, things.
All that stuff. You know,
I love you.
The things.
I love you so much.
See you guys next time.
Deuces.
Bye.
Wait, me?